What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Domuto. We're back with another video today. We are watching SmugStick. What if Super Boo was good? Finale. Okay, and yeah, there's a 40-minute video, so it's pretty long, and we about to get into it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and let go.
Goku and Vegeta are training at Beerus' planet with Broly as Paragus watches on, but suddenly they get a call from Mr. Satan. There's strange people here whom Boo is arguing with. They are the Galactic Patrol, with Goku and Vegeta wasting no time to teleport in. Boo is happy to see them again. They've been with Broly so often that he hasn't gotten to play around with them too much. Goku tries to convince Boo to go with them after hearing just exactly what Moro is all about, but Boo really doesn't want to. Goku tries to tell off the Galactic Patrol, telling them that Boo doesn't need to do anything he doesn't want to do. To Boo, it sounded like Goku and Vegeta were here to fight Boo instead, which caused another argument between Boo and Vegeta. Boo ponders it, but before he can respond, Beerus appears behind him and knocks him out with a stun gun. Boo is paralyzed, as Goku and Vegeta yell at Beerus that that wasn't okay to do, before being knocked out too. And so, the Galactic Patrol takes them all away. Beerus and Jaco explain that a strange wizard named Moro had escaped, and is now heading to Planet Namek in search of the Dragon Balls. Long ago, the Grand Supreme Kai, who now lives within Boo, gave up a good chunk of his godly power in order to stop him. He is their only hope. Goku and Vegeta stare at Boo in confusion. Now that he mentions it, they did see a couple of strange beings within Boo that seem to have been part of him a lot longer than the others, with the Grand Kai buried deep into a wall. Beerus looked at them all weird, but he didn't really question it. Right now, they needed to wake up Boo in order to stop Moro. Vegeta kicks Boo to wake him up, with Majin jumping to his feet and asking if they're ready to fight. But Beerus instead requested his help. Boo really wasn't in the mood for this. He just wanted a fight with Goku and Vegeta, not some wizard. They continue to argue, telling him that Moro is really powerful, and Boo finally decides to see for himself, closing his eyes to try and sense Moro. He locates him, as Moro notices him too, and turns his head to look at Boo. The Majin is taken aback, but he shrugged. Moro's energy was incredibly malicious, but he didn't seem that strong. He was old and decrepit. Goku, on the other hand, was much more worried about what Moro represented. They asked Boo again if he'd like to help, but Boo scoffed. Goku and Vegeta had been spending so much time with Broly that they don't come visit Boo anymore. He just wants to fight strong guys. If they're not gonna fight him, then surely Broly will. Without saying anything else, Boo teleports to Beerus' planet. Goku and Vegeta were left with their mouths hanging. Boo had always been troublesome, but thankfully they were still around. They could take care of Moro in no time. At Beerus' planet, Boo yawned and stretched, looking for a fight against Broly. Whis was making him meditate, when suddenly Boo interrupted the deep peace he was in with a ginormous scream that tore apart time and space for a split second before closing back up. Boo wanted to fight no matter what. Whis was just annoyed at the interruption, but allowed it. Broly himself had wanted to fight Boo for a while, though this time Whis would be coaching him, so he wouldn't lose complete control. Meanwhile, on Planet Namek, the events go similar to the original story. Vegeta battles Moro in order to defend the Namekians, but slowly realizes his power is being stolen and eaten by Moro. At first, they're confident that they can take him down, but eventually the heroes have to acknowledge the fact that they can't win at this rate, as Moro consumes more and more of the planet's energy. As in the manga, Goku and Vegeta are ultimately defeated but saved by the Namekians. Moro continues to look for the Dragon Balls, and a few days pass, with Boo still at Beerus' planet eating and sleeping. Whis has noticed peculiar things about Boo, such as his blazing blue aura, and the way he just wants to fight strong guys. He was like an extreme version of somebody else he knew. Whis went on to ask Boo why he didn't want to help his friends, to which Boo responded by saying that he just wants to fight. Goku and Vegeta had been his friends for a long time, but as soon as Broly came along, they just started hanging out with him instead. Whis couldn't believe that this actually bothered Boo so much, but he had to remember, he was a force of nature. None of them really understood him, though Whis did have an idea of what was going on within him.
Okay,
to his
Boo.
surprise, Broly stood up and apologized for taking so much of Goku and Vegeta's time. He sure was a handful and needed a lot of help with training. Boo just crossed his arms and looked away, but his stomach growled alongside Broly's. Whis asked Boo politely for a banquet, creating a set of rocks for Boo to turn into food. The Majin accepted, though he gave Whis, Paragus, and Broly smaller portions. Beerus eventually came out as well, and stole a lot of Boo's food, which nearly caused a fight. While eating, Broly told Boo that he wished he could go help Goku and Vegeta. They had been so kind to him, but he knows he can't, as his power is far from perfect. Boo listens closely, which surprises Whis. He was sure of it now. Boo wasn't alone in there. Even if his his main goal was getting stronger and fighting tougher opponents, he had something deep inside that made him care for the others. Broly told Boo that if he decides to go, then to belt one into Moro for him. Boo smirked, saying that if Goku and Vegeta are having so much trouble, then maybe this Moro guy is worth it. Whis reminded Boo to check in with the Galactic Patrol first. He thinks Boo could get even stronger with Miras' help. Boo cocked an eyebrow, realizing there's something between Whis and Miras which the angel wasn't telling him, but he finally agreed and teleported over to Miras. The patroller nearly had a heart attack upon seeing Boo, but the Majin said that he was finally here to help out. Miras was worried they needed the Grand Kai, but he thought of something: the Galactic Patrol Hypnotist. This is actually how Boo was able to unlock the Grand Kai in the original manga, though we don't actually see it happen, it's just mentioned. Either way, Boo is impatient, but accepts to sit in for a bit, as slowly he's put in a trance. Memories, visions coming to him. But to the hypnotist and Miras' surprise, the Grand Kai wasn't alone. On planet Namek, Goku and Vegeta have come together again to continue fighting Moro, though things weren't looking great, as not only was their power getting stolen, but Moro's wish to restore his magic and free the galactic prisoners had been granted. Now they're on their way, as all hope seems lost. Boo, Miras, and Jakku arrive. Boo stands tall and proud, a cape similar to the one he used to wear sitting on his shoulder. His presence feels slightly different than the one they're used to, but they're glad to have him here. He turns to look at Goku and smirks at him with a thumbs up, which confuses the Saiyan. Boo bursts towards Moro. It's clear why Boo was needed now. None of Moro's power absorption really worked on him, but Goku thought it went well beyond that. The way Boo was acting and handling himself was more centered, less chaotic, yet unpredictable as ever in fighting. Miras revealed what occurred. The patrol's hypnotist had unlocked the Grand Kai's memories and soul within Boo. Goku understood now why Boo was so different, but as the Majin continued to beat the wizard, Miras said that it wasn't all. He also unlocked something else within Boo. Goku cocked an eyebrow as he turned to look at Boo, who screamed out, "Kaioken times 20!" He thought that maybe Boo was just copying him before, but it was more than that, wasn't it? Boo was driving Moro absolutely crazy. His insane moves were smarter than ever before, as he bounced around all over the place, turned himself into a ball, turned things into candy, even used a tree as a baseball bat to try and smash Moro, with Moro launching the lava from within the planet towards Boo, only for it to get turned into hot chocolate. But Moro is tired of this. Knowing he needs more power, he hides his ki and teleports away. Boo wants to go after him, but first he heals Goku and Vegeta back to full health. As they turn around to thank him, Boo's head morphs into the Grand Kai's, who says they need to stop Moro now. Before they respond, however, his face changes again into Goku. Both Goku and Vegeta jump back at the surprise, as Buku says that he's been stuck in there for a while, and that he's thankful to them for having defeated Zamasu and avenged his family, but that this isn't exactly the most comfortable position to be in. Either way, they needed to work together to stop this guy, and later they can talk about getting him out. Vegeta is terrified at what's going on, but Goku is much more welcoming, revealing that he had a suspicion about the Goku he fought within Buu, but wasn't sure if he was right until now. The team powers up and bursts towards the atmosphere. However, as they rush out, a spaceship full of prisoners arrive. Moro telepathically orders Sagambo to keep the patrollers distracted as he gives them some of his energy, but more importantly, he tells 7-3 to help him out. Goku and Vegeta were pulled back by the galactic prisoners as more and more of their power was being stolen and given to the villains. Buu continues into space, challenging Moro. Moro just groaned as he continued to collect energy from the planet. Buu uses the abilities of all the fighters within to push Moro to the brink. Goku's face says that they don't want to kill him, while Buu says that it would be a waste. So the Grand Kai has an idea, the Kai Kai Matoru, the technique that sealed away Moro's power long ago. But just as the blast is about to be fired, Buu feels someone touch the back of his neck. 7-3 got a hold of Buu, arriving just in time to steal his power and envelop the power using Buu's own ability. The Majin uses the Kaioken times 20 to escape, his body sizzling and burning off. Meanwhile, Moro takes the chance to continue absorbing the world's power. 7-3 is a formidable foe, using Buu's abilities however he can, throwing pieces of himself, extending his arms, surprisingly enough, even using the time skip. But there's something wrong. Although 7-3 can use the abilities effectively, he doesn't have the creativity or the chaos that Buu has. Now the android is struggling, and Buu starts to overwhelm him. He's just too unpredictable. 7-3 starts to fire candy beams across space, but Boo avoids them.
Okay,
One
Boo.
nearly hits Moro, which freaks him out. Moro knows if this keeps up, he's going to lose, so he has to take drastic measures. He was hoping that 7-3 would be enough, but you shouldn't send out an android to do a wizard's job. He was afraid enough of the Kai Matoru and the Grand Kai to give up 7-3 and more in order to win. But for 7-3, it was almost as if his body wasn't aligned with Boo's abilities. Unlike with Piccolo and the others, who share similar physiology, Boo is just a completely different Eldritch being. As 7-3 goes to punch Boo again, he feels a force drag him back, landing on the hand of Moro, choking the android. Boo asks if he'd given up yet, only to watch as Moro eats 7-3. He can't believe the amount of power he has now, as his body changes into a more humanoid one, and Boo's antenna grows on his head. This Majin truly was a tremendous being, as tentacles stem from his back, attacking Boo, who barely manages to avoid him. The battles against Moro and 7-3 have really started to take a toll on Boo, even if he was winning. Boo cursed under his breath as the Grand Kai within realizes what's going on. They've had plenty of chances to stop Moro, but in reality, Goku and Boo wanted to enjoy the fight more than anything. Instead of just finishing things off quickly, they were in deep trouble now, while Moro's stomach began to growl. The wizard was used to eating planets, but this was a different kind of hunger, and it made him suffer. His body just wasn't made like Boo's. Moro asks, what is this? What had he been cursed with? Moro and Boo were just completely different, and Boo's eternal hunger transferred over to the wizard, the essence of chaos. Moro knew what he needed to do, and he was smarter than 7-3. He instantly rushed at Boo, his speed already far above the Majin's, kneeing him in the stomach and began to steal his energy. Boo asked himself how. This wasn't working before, but the Grand Kai realized that by having Boo's power, their magic was also matched. Boo continued to try and fight, even using the Kaioken times 20, which Goku sensed from below. Clearly Boo was in trouble, but this power-up just fed Moro more. As Boo's vision became blurred, Moro let him go with a blast to the chest. Eating Boo wouldn't be enough. He needed everything. Goku tried to catch Boo, but the key ball Moro had sent down exploded, sending everyone into different directions. Suddenly, screams came out as all of the fighters were stabbed by spikes from Moro's body.
Damn.
The heroes were able to free themselves. Nearly every single one of the galactic criminals was stabbed through the chest and slowly pulled up towards Moro. One by one, they were eaten. He didn't need an army, he needed to feed. A spike also pierced through Boo as Moro tried to absorb him, but Miras managed to shoot it down. Moro descended down, convulsing, speaking about how hungry he is, how he thought this power would be enough to defeat the Grand Kai, but instead, it was a curse. The Z fighters got ready to fight, but Moro had no interest, placing his hands on the ground as it began to glow pink. Goku recognized it, yelling at everyone to grab onto him and teleport just in time to the Galactic Patrol HQ, while at the same time, Planet Namek was turned into candy. Moro laughed in glee, eating every bit of it. It wasn't much, and it didn't taste great. Most of Namek's power had already been eaten by him previously. This just meant he needed to go to more worlds and eat them. And once his hunger was quenched, he would go after the Grand Supreme Kai. Goku, Vegeta, and the others tried to figure out what to do. They were worried about Boo, but Miras reassured him that he was okay. On one hand, he had used way too much energy, and now was in deep slumber. But within, the Grand Kaioshin and Goku were arguing. Goku claimed that it was an amazing fight, and that he had a lot of fun. But above all, he could have won if the Grand Kai hadn't intervened. The Kai rebutted, saying that this threat is a lot bigger than having fun. They needed to end him as quickly as possible. This argument continued, while Boo sat quietly. He was face to face with the people he had absorbed, and in essence, was having an identity crisis. Gotenks, Gohan, Trunks, Zamasu, and all the other fighters from the Tournament of Power were once a part of him. He was the sum of his parts, even if they weren't within him anymore. Sure, he liked absorbing and taking abilities, but more than anything, he liked to evolve them and make them his own. Now, he didn't even recognize himself. Who really was Super Boo? Once they arrive at the Galactic Patrol, they discuss what to do. They know they need to prepare. They know they need to get stronger. And Vegeta has his eyes set on planet Yardrat. He grabs one of the Galactic Patrollers and drags him to a ship. Goku asks what he's going to do. They need to wait until Boo wakes up. Vegeta just looks at Goku and rolls his eyes. Goku looked at Miras. He wanted to train with him. Vegeta went on his way and flew towards planet Yardrat in a Galactic Patrol spaceship. Meanwhile, Goku and Miras would train in the Time Chamber, as Goku finally realizes that Miras is an angel, and that his Ultra Instinct can be evolved with his help. Boo remains asleep, having used up far too much energy. But as Vegeta takes a nap, Turbulence wakes him up. Once he opens his eyes, he notices the Galactic Patroller is absolutely terrified, looking out of the window to see various planets and space debris having been turned into chocolate all around the galaxy. The Patroller pointed at his radar, showing that planets all over have been disappearing. But by tracking Moro's trajectory, they can predict where he's going to end up. Planet is Planet Yardrat, and soon after that, Planet Earth. Thanks to Boo's teleportation, Moro has been able to speed up his absorption. Vegeta yelled at the Patroller to contact the Galactic Patrol, and quickly the message was sent out to Goku. Sadly, Miras and Goku hadn't spent too much time in the chamber, but whatever time they did spend in there had really helped to progress his Ultra Instinct, even if just a bit. Vegeta hated having to do this, but he had to rely on Goku's instant transmission one last time. Goku teleported into the ship, and the ship into Planet Yardrat. There, Goku was able to meet up with Pibara, his old master from when he landed on Yardrat. He warned them all of the impending doom, but they refused to leave, saying that they're prohibited from teleporting anywhere but Yardrat. Vegeta hated them acting like this, but as soon as Moro teleported in, and Pibara sensed the malicious energy, he realized his people would die if he didn't do something about this. They won't be able to stand up against him. Together, an entire army of Yardrians began to use Force Spirit Fission on Moro as he floated above the sky, while Goku and Vegeta rushed up to him to try and continue the fight. It did start to slow down Moro, but he had absorbed so much power that it didn't make too much of a difference. Thankfully, Miras was there as well. He took Pibara aside and told him that if he doesn't teleport over to the Galactic Patrol HQ, where they can house his people for now, then his entire race will be wiped out. Pibara was confused. He didn't know why he felt this way in front of Miras. In reality, Pibara is the equivalent of Kami on Planet Yardrat. Being in front of a higher deity, an angel, awoke something within him that made him finally react. He was almost scared to say no. This is similar to Shin and Piccolo in the World Tournament. Although they tried to steal as much energy as possible and give Goku and Vegeta a chance, with Goku using Ultra Instinct to the best of his abilities, it still wasn't enough. And together with his people, Pibara resorted to teleporting over to the Galactic Patrol HQ. Goku in particular was doing better than before, clearly having progressed a little bit in his training. But as Moro threatened to turn the entire world into chocolate, Miras told them that they needed to retreat. Goku hated having to escape, but with Vegeta they teleported back. The real training was about to begin. Thankfully, planets between Yardrat and Earth aren't really inhabited, and Moro would spend a lot of time eating after turning a world into chocolate. So they had a few days, but not many. Vegeta asked Pibara to help him train. He wanted to learn more techniques from the Yardrat. Meanwhile, Goku and Miras trained, but they were all worried about Boo. He was still asleep. Moro, having taken so much of his energy, really did a number on him. And so, finally, the day for Moro to make it to Earth arrives, with Goku, Vegeta, Pibara, and Miras ready to see the results of the training. The Yardrians remain on the Galactic Patrol HQ, as Goku, Vegeta, and Miras teleport to Earth. The skies over planet Earth darkened as the malevolent energy descended on the planet. Moro, twisted by the powers he had absorbed, hovered over the Earth. His eyes gleamed with anticipation as he raised his hand, ready to unleash the devastating candy beam. Maybe this will satisfy my hunger. He gathered his energy, a dark aura swirling around him. But before he could release the attack, a blinding flash slingshot himself towards the sky. He twisted back up to his feet as Goku floated above him, but he wasn't alone. The Z-Fighters had gathered, as Piccolo promised to avenge Planet Namek, and Vegeta cracked his knuckles. Goku's Ultra Instinct Omen aura blazed up. I'm not gonna let you eat any more planets, Moro. I'm a lot stronger than the last time we met. Moro snarled. You think you can stop me? No. I'm still hungry. The two warriors stared each other down, the air between them charged with energy and anticipation, while Boo slept peacefully. Instantly, the battlefield was a storm of fire and energy, as Moro released the lava from Earth and threw it at the Z-Fighters. But the lava then turned into hot chocolate that was burning. And although it was tasty, it also burned anything in its wake. As the Z-Fighters charged at him, Moro raised his hand and summoned an army of clones. powers by throwing pieces of himself at the Z-Fighters. Each one of them attempted to absorb the Z-Fighters, and although not nearly as powerful as the main body, they were still formidable enough to challenge the warriors. 17 and 18 fought back to back, their synchronized attacks barely keeping the clones at bay. As they took one out, another one appeared. Gohan and Piccolo charged their special beam cannons together, firing to pierce at the Moros, who just regenerated again. Krillin cut them up with a Kienzan, while Tien rushed in with a Kikoho to burn the clones away. Goku and Vegeta were the ones standing at the forefront, exchanging quick glances. The plan was simple. Goku would serve as distraction, fighting Moro head-on and avoiding all of his attacks, while Vegeta struck wherever he could see openings, using Force Spirit Fission to continue to drain away at Moro, punching, kicking, and blasting in every way he could. Moro's eyes gleamed in amusement as he activated the time skip, something Buu had learned long ago, dodging one of Goku's attacks with ease. He may not have Ultra Instinct, but this worked for now, especially as he time skipped, surprising Goku, and utilizes the Kaioken times 20 to punch him in the gut. But Goku trusted his Ultra Instinct, avoiding the strike just in time. Even so, he knew this battle wouldn't be easy. Moro had too many tricks up his sleeve. Thankfully, he had dealt with all of these before. Goku gritted his teeth. Amid the chaos, two new figures appeared in the battlefield, Whis and Beerus. Broly had to stay at Beerus' realm, as he wasn't allowed to intervene, in case he exploded in power.
This looks like quite a mess.
Indeed, Lord Beerus, but I don't see Buu anywhere. From a distance, Beerus watched the battles unfold, his expression focused and serious. He knew he couldn't intervene, but if it did come down to it, he would give his life up for the universe. As Vegeta continued to steal energy from Moro, he channeled all that stolen energy back into Goku. Kakarot has started to struggle with Moro's techniques, but neither of them gave up, and as more energy was siphoned away from Moro, Goku slowly gained the upper hand. The Moro clones slowly lessened and lessened, but the Z-Fighters were also extremely hurt. One by one, they fell. Seeing his friends in trouble, Goku's resolve hardened, launching himself at Moro with renewed vigor, as Vegeta continued to transfer more energy. But Moro was far from defeated, as he activated the time skip once again, dodging Goku's attack at the last second. But Goku had gotten used to the time skip, having stuck at his foot just in time to trip Moro over. Goku fired a ginormous Kamehameha at Moro as he fell. It seemed to have nearly obliterated him, but he slowly started to regenerate from the defeated clones into one single being again. Meanwhile, at the Galactic Patrol HQ, the Yardrans were watching the battle with growing concern. Pibara stepped forward, telling his people to give Buu their energy in order to wake him up. But within, Buu could feel everything going on Earth, all the anxiety the Yardrans felt, while at the same time the Kaioshin and Goku continued to argue. He was tired of it. He was tired of hearing others argue for his sake. That's when he realized something. He had handled himself just fine before that Bibbidi guy tried to control him. He didn't have to absorb anyone. He didn't have to listen to anyone. He just did as he pleased. Why was he letting these people argue what was best for him?
Enough!
But Buu, you have to listen to us. We need to defeat Moro.
And we will, but I was handling myself just fine before you two started speaking your minds. If we're going to win, you have to listen to me.
Back at the battlefield, Moro's power continued to dominate. Moro was tired of Vegeta, and one last time when he tried to punch him in the face while Goku dodged, Moro managed to dissolve his body around the punch, grab Vegeta, and attempt to absorb him. Goku reached out, grabbing Vegeta by the arm and trying to pull him back, but Moro continued to spread around Goku. He was going to be absorbed too. All the Z-Fighters gathered together, pouring their energy in and grabbing whatever they could, slowly dragging Goku and Vegeta away from Moro. It was working, but they needed a bit more effort. Goku's Ultra Instinct slowly failed him, but it did allow him to remember something, what Buu had done before. Screaming out, a Kaioken times 30! The explosion burned off Moro of himself as he tumbled back. Goku and Vegeta were extremely hurt, all of them were, but they had managed to escape, and the energy stolen from Moro was significant. Even so, his power seemed endless. Just as all hopes seemed lost, a surge of energy washed over them. Vegeta knew that trying to steal Moro's energy wasn't going to work anymore, and poured whatever was left over to Goku. He closed his eyes and breathed in, his Ultra Instinct awakening
Yes,
again.
sir.
But this time, it was different. It was a wide-haired version. Goku had to center himself, keep his mind at peace, despite seeing his friends hurt. He needed to do this. Moro and Goku clashed again, a cataclysmic punch that sent shockwaves rippling through the planet. And for a moment, it seemed Goku was going to win. Moro did everything he could, but his body was in a worse shape than before. He didn't even look humanoid anymore, more like a twisted being. Vegeta asked the Z-Fighters to pour in their energy and give it to him, so he can give it to Goku, as he rushed forward with his fist out, ready to burst through Moro. But Moro created barriers from his own body to slow down Goku. Every bit of energy he got, he burst through another wall, and another, but he started to slow down. He wasn't going to make it. Vegeta threw the last bit of energy. As Goku finally burst through, he was going to unleash everything into that single punch and disintegrate Moro. But as he was about to land it, he heard screams coming from behind. As all the Z-Fighters were now being engulfed by Moro's own body, the wizard had left bits of himself around the battlefield and was now dragging them towards him. The punch still landed, but it wasn't enough. Now Goku tried to help his friends as lava burst around him and meteors started to strike. Moro was throwing everything he could at the Saiyan. Upon seeing this, Miras rushed in and helped Goku free his friends. They fried all the pieces of Moro left, but the wizard jumped behind and unleashed a giant candy beam. Everyone thought this was over, but Miras, looking at Goku in the eyes as he did it, and thanking him for showing him just how beautiful the universe can be and just how amazing mortals are, the angel jumped before the beam and was turned into chocolate. Goku burst into Super Saiyan Blue. Moro responded by shooting out key rings and paralyzing Goku against the rock formation. He slowly made his way towards the Saiyan, putting a key ball right up to his neck, ready to kill him. Moro was now the ultimate wizard, the strongest warrior, but his existence would be meaningless if he didn't satisfy this hunger. In essence, this Moro is still the same one we know from the original story, just a little crazier because of this hunger that he inherited from Super Buu. His body and mind just disagreed. He slaps Goku with the other hand before putting it back out to pull the chocolate mirrors towards him. The candy bar got buried underneath a rock. As Moro called it forward, it struggled underneath it, trying to escape its captor. When it finally did, it went straight towards Moro at an incredible speed. Moro opened his mouth, closed his eyes, but the candy bar swooshed past his head. He turned to look at who was responsible, only to see Super Buu holding it in his hand and absorbing it onto himself. The Majin smirked, his cape flowing in the wind. He seemed different somehow, as if all of those within him agreed to work together. Goku, the Grand Supreme Kai, Super Buu, they were all working in unison and added one more to the list. As Super Buu absorbed Miras' candy, Buu's eyes sparkled a bright white, a brilliant aura surrounding him. He began taking slow steps towards Moro. Before the steps got faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster, he pulled his fist back. But Moro, either out of terror or stupidity, burst forward to attack himself. They were about to strike each other before Buu, utilizing Miras' Ultra Instinct, spun to the side and stuck his arm out, stopping Moro in his tracks. The two were going at such speeds, exploded half of Moro's body. As he fell down from the sky, Goku took his chance, pulling his arms back for an Ultra Instinct Kamehameha and firing it at Moro. Moro was still trying to regenerate, but the pieces couldn't quite connect with each other. They were continuously being burned off. Moro was clearly messed up. Super Buu nodded at Goku. He was now one complete being.
Moro screamed out, his giant hand jumping in to grab Buu. The Majin tried to dodge, but Moro actually grabbed him by the cape at the last second. Buu was annoyed, murmuring to himself that he should have been able to avoid that easily. Buu dissolved himself to slip away from Moro's grasp and flicked himself in the head.
Hey, is the new guy causing trouble in there?
Inside of Super Buu, Miras kept on telling the others that they needed to act now and make a move to finally end Moro. But Super Buu was just focus with his eyes closed. Mirrors yelled at him, but both Goku and the Grand Kai appeared before Mirrors. The Grand Kai said, "Sorry, Lord Mirrors, but you're not the one in charge here." Goku continued, "I know you're a big deal," and taught the other me, "but if we don't let Buu take the helm, then this isn't going to work." Mirrors cocked an eyebrow in confusion, before the other two fighters turned around and placed their hands on Buu's shoulders. They trusted him. Without much of a choice, he placed his hands on Moro's back, his eyes blazing black as he could now understand Super Buu. There was a rhyme and a rhythm to the chaos he brought. Outside, he dodged away from all of Moro's moves, firing a galactic donut to keep them in place, spinning in with a keyblade on his arm to cut him in half. Lightning absolution rained down on Moro as he tried to regenerate. The wizard roared, avoiding some of the lightning blasts, and finally reaching Buu, only for him to fire a special beam cannon through his mouth. With Mirrors' Ultra Instinct, he appeared, weaved and dodged any rebuttal. He swore to kill Goku and Buu. Suddenly, everything around them began to glow pink. Goku yelled at everyone to fly away from the ground, as Moro was about to turn everything into candy. Mirrors on the inside and Goku on the outside tried to tell Buu that they needed to teleport Moro away, or else Earth would suffer. But Buu instead began to charge his ki. Mirrors tried to get him to react, but Goku smirked at him again. He wasn't in control. Buu burst forward and into Moro, knocking his wind out as he let go of the ground below. Goku closed his eyes to sense Buu. He was somewhere none of them could follow. As Buu rushed through a skyscraper, through clouds, even out through the atmosphere and into the side of the moon. Moro's stomach tortured him. He had gone seconds without eating, and now he was in pure agony. But Moro couldn't free himself. Buu's Ultra Instinct was enough to read and move the trajectory of any blast, while still not giving up any momentum. The pair continued to fly through space, as Moro was getting desperate, and if the only way to force Buu to let him go was to blow himself up, then he would do it. Moro collected all the power he had stolen, even some of Buu's as they flew, passing by Mars in an instant. Buu was going to throw him into the sun. Moro needed to blow before that could happen. If he had to die, then it would be under his own pretenses. He'd kill Buu, not the other way around. Mirrors was terrified. He could sense Moro about to explode, but right before he was about to, Buu spun and launched Moro out into the depths of space. He wasn't going to reach the sun, but he could get him as far away as possible from Earth. The wizard crashed through layers of Venus, one after the other. Just as he crashed through the other side of the planet, Moro exploded spectacularly.
Damn.
Buu could see it even from as far away as he was. Whispering to himself, he thanked those inside him for their help and teleported back to Earth. Once there, the Z fighters ran up to him. Goku punched him in the chest with a smile. Vegeta likewise was happy to finally breathe a sigh of relief as he closed his eyes and began to feel for the energy released, trying to turn it back to its rightful owners. Goku told Buu that he wanted to fight him like this again before releasing Mirrors, which actually got him yelled at by Whis. And so, Earth was saved. Until Vegeta gasped. He took a step back. Vegeta said that the energy release was being pulled back away from him, and it was getting bigger. Moro wasn't dead. Goku turned back and sensed for what was going on. The wizard exploded over the atmosphere of Venus. It destroyed a good portion of the planet, but his bits rained down onto the world, and slowly he tried to regenerate. He was so hungry, so eager to end things the way he wanted, that he decided to have one final meal. The bits of Moro buried themselves into the planet, consuming it and becoming one with it. The Z fighters looked up to see a giant smiling grin of planet Moro. Having become one with Venus, a giant fist came back down Earth's way, with Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and Piccolo bursting up to stop it with whatever little energy they had left. They were able to slow it down without hurting the planet, but they themselves came crashing down. How could they defeat a monster like this? 17, 18, and the others tried to help, while Buu's heart was beating so fast that it was all he could hear. That was the peak of his strength. Now what? Goku, on the outside, made his way to Buu's side, barely holding on. Buu, we can do this if we work together.
I showed him all I had.
You're not listening to me. Ever since we met you, you've used our strength. Sometimes for good, sometimes for bad. But you learned. You evolved. I know you have full control of it now. I know they aren't informing your choices. But you know you can count on me. Buu cocked an eyebrow. I trust you. Use my strength.
But it won't be enough.
Then use mine as well. Mine too.
Tch.
Mine, I guess. Miras couldn't believe what he was seeing. Humanity was really trusting this agent of chaos. Mortals
Big Boo.
were really amazing.
Alright.
Big Boo not the
I was hungry anyways.
Right. King Kai, we need your help. Whis and Beerus thought this was an insane move and floated out into space to avoid it, while Boo kneeled down and the earth shook, with Goku and the others doing what they could to stop Moro. The Grand Kai within Boo smiled proudly as Boo began to stretch his body over every surface of Earth. King Kai allowed for Goku's voice to travel across the planet, telling everyone to calm down. When that didn't work, they asked for Mr. Satan's help. Earth knew of Boo. He was Satan's pupil, but he was also a longtime rival of the Great Saiyaman. Gohan's voice had to step in and tell everyone that the Great Saiyaman and Boo were now working together in this super team-up for the sake of Earth. It was still terrifying, but it eased things out. Boo's eyes glowed as he began to sink into the world. One by one, the Z-Fighters started to disappear, and Boo's power got stronger and stronger. The last one to be absorbed was Goku, as he looked down at the pink-covered world and smiled. He had to trust Boo. There was a brilliant flash of light that consumed Earth and pushed planet Moro away. As Earth became one with him, the Majin rose among the stars. The moon orbits around the new Boo as Moro's eyes clear up to look at him, his body stamped with seas, mountains, cities, and more. The voices of billions sounded as Boo declared himself as the victor. The two pulled their fists
Boo.
back and threw a ginormous punch that shook the entire galaxy. Within, every single person found themselves in utter bliss. Goku faced his other self within Boo in battle. Vegeta found himself in a throne before he'd simply stood up and walked to a door, finding his family. Gohan studied at Piccolo's home while his master trained with Pan. Still, all their experiences, hopes, and dreams gave Boo more creativity, more excitement. The galactic battlefield trembled under the titanic clash between the planetary Moro and the singularity Boo. The wizard roared, his hunger torturing him. He launched at Boo, sending a barrage of asteroids hurling at him. Boo darted and weaved as he deflected the smaller rocks with precise blast. However, the larger asteroids slammed into him, sending shockwaves into his form. Moro's colossal hand outstretched, grabbing a nearby moon and crushing it with his grip. He devoured the shadow remains, his energy surging with every bite. But it wasn't enough. His eyes locked onto the sun with a sinister gleam. That would satisfy him. Moro unleashed a dark beam from his mouth, aiming to turn the sun into candy, the fabric of space itself trembling. Reacting swiftly, Boo charged forward. He reached out and grabbed his own moon, hurling into the path of the beam. It was instantly transformed into a massive candy rock, with Boo eating it before Moro could, as he powered up and unleashed a massive energy wave, blasting at Moro into an asteroid field. Yet Moro was undeterred. He tore chunks out of nearby planets and moons, devouring them with ravenous hunger. Boo, feeling the pressure, took a defensive stance, with stars and planets serving as both weapons and obstacles in their epic clash. Boo knew he had to hold on, to find a way to turn the tide of battle. As Moro launched himself at Boo and began striking his face over and over again, Boo remembered Goku's words. The trust and faith his friends had placed in him resonated with him deeply. He knew he needed to harness the power of Earth to stand a chance against Moro. He closed his eyes as Boo focused on the energies within. He felt Goku's unwavering determination, Vegeta's fierce resolve, Gohan's boundless potential, Piccolo's strategic mind, and Miras' angelic powers. As Moro threw one final punch, Boo became a blur, his aura sparkling. Boo dodged with ultra instinct. He retaliated with powerful Masenko. The blast hit Moro squarely, causing him to stagger. Boo followed by jumping over Moro, kneeing him in the back and grabbing his horns, using Vegeta's Force Spirit Vision to steal enough energy to immediately use it as a final flash. The golden beam sliced through Moro, his regeneration continuing to struggle. Moro chased Boo around space, as the Majin left planet-sized key balls all around them, until Moro was able to blast Boo away. But Boo wasn't worried, as he flicked his finger and released all the left key balls, Piccolo's Hellzone Grenade. But above all, he had to pay respects to the person that trusted him the most. As Boo charged forward and Moro tried to regenerate, the Majin kicks Moro in the face with Mr. Satan's dynamite kick. The unexpected attack caught Moro off guard. With each one of these strikes, Boo continued to spirit fission out more energy, and now it glowed behind him as a spirit bomb. Taking it in the palm of his hand, he released it towards Moro. Moro rushed back away from the spirit bomb to try and avoid it. He was going to lead it into the sun, but before he could reach it, Super Boo appeared before him, smirking as he spread himself over Moro. Boo enveloped them both. The spirit bomb reduced Moro to its most pathetic form and allowed Boo to slowly consume him. Moro howled in agony, his form destabilizing under the immense pressure. Realizing his end was near, Moro tried to reverse this and attempt to consume Boo, but the Majin's resolve was absolute, channeling the love and hope for everyone on Earth. The spirit bomb, Moro and Venus were enveloped in the pink aura. Boo's body stretched and warped as he began to absorb the dark energy. Moro's resistance was fierce, but Boo's determination was stronger. He whispered softly, his voice carrying the weight of Earth's trust and love.
I'm sorry for your hunger, but I can free you. You will be happier this way.
Moro's form flickered and faded, his essence drawn into Boo. The dark energy was purified,
Moro,
transformed by the collective hope and love of Earth. Boo's form stabilized, his power now greater than ever. The cosmos fell silent as the battle concluded. Whis and Beerus smiled. Boo looked around, feeling gratitude and relief for everyone who fought to protect. He knew he would have to return Earth to the way it was before, but for now, he felt like he was truly part of something, that he could truly protect his friends. As slowly, everyone was awoken from that lovely dream and returned back to the way it was before. These battles made Boo realize that although he loved using everyone's strength, what really made him happy was evolving that power. But now he needed to evolve his own. Beerus and the other Goku were released.
Other Goku had a tearful reunion with his family, getting to spend quite a few months with them. Beerus had to bend the rules. 1 year. That's all he got. But he threw him a bone. Other Goku would be sent back to a timeline similar to his old one. And although he did spend 6 months, he also used the remaining 6 to travel across the other universes, challenging fighters like Jiren, Hit, and more. The normal Goku didn't mind. It just meant that next time he saw his opponents, they would be more of a challenge. This Goku never got a Tournament of Power, and he was quite sad about it, so he went through every universe before finally getting to return to his family.
Shin also had a fateful reunion with the Grand Kai. Being able to see his old friend after so long was amazing, and he was happy to welcome him back into the Kaioshin realm. But the Grand Kaioshin denied this. He didn't want to go back. He enjoyed not having all those responsibilities, and had accepted long ago that he was a part of Boo. Not only that, but Moro was a part of him too. They were a yin and a yang. They really complemented each other, and though Moro would remain dormant forever, he still wanted to keep an eye on him.
As the Z-Fighters all celebrate, Boo took a second to look up at the sky. Ever since he could remember, he had been sought after by wizards, monsters, Saiyans, and more. Bobbidi bibbidi, they aimed to control something they didn't understand. All he knew was how to be influenced by people. For the first time, he understood that he didn't have to be controlled. He had been accepted by a group of people who didn't seek to just use him. Instead, he could grow, seeing parts of them reflected in him. This was the most introspective Boo had ever been, but he was content, although part of him missed having future Goku around. Boo ripped off all the clothing that belonged to Moro or whoever else, leaving only the cape he had when he was originally Fat Boo. Goku turned to look at Boo, surprised to not see him eat. He was going to bring him something, but Beerus was ahead of him. Without a word, without looking at him, Beerus handed Boo the pudding. The Majin was surprised, but didn't waste time in eating the whole thing. Boo had really changed from the mindless monster he used to be. Now, he was a bit of every one of his friends, and he was okay with that, as long as he got to choose what being Majin Buu meant. To celebrate, and maybe even to annoy Bulma, Boo gestured up, causing lava to spew from the backyard of Capsule Corp, instantly getting turned into chocolate, as Boo and Beerus rushed in to see who could eat more. And so, years passed on by. Goku and Vegeta continue to have adventures, having a fateful meeting with a Cerealian named Granola, the mastery of Ultra Instinct, and the discovery of Ultra Ego. Boo's time on Earth was peaceful. He still helped Goku and Vegeta train, and Whis was even more interested in him after he absorbed Moro. An evil wizard in a sacred Kai making up an agent of chaos was quite interesting. And, thanks to the Grand Kai's wisdom, Boo was able to help Broly control his power little by little, only because Broly promised him a fight afterwards. Gohan was also more interested in training with him. The many times Boo reminded him of just how strong he was inspired him to train more, trying to find his own technique. Super Boo's name was known around the world. Just like Mr. Satan, he was considered a hero. And, for at least a few minutes, every person on Earth got to see a perfect life. Many asked Boo to recreate that for them, but Mr. Satan always used it as a chance to give a speech and say that a perfect life is the one you're living in now. You have to make your own paradise. The words of these heroes stuck around the mind of a certain doctor as he tried to create his paradise by making superheroes. Boo was training with everyone at Beerus' planet when the events of the movie went down. Boo was happy to relax and just watch the fights. It isn't long until they realize that Whis' staff is ringing, but by then it's too late. Cell Max was defeated. Upon hearing that there was trouble on Earth, Boo sensed for powerful energy, realizing there was some kind of monster down there. Before Goku and Vegeta could stop him, he teleported to Earth, only to see that the monster was Gohan. He felt a strange sense of pride upon seeing him. Many years ago, when he absorbed him to defeat Frieza, Boo sensed an innate beastly power within Gohan, and finally, it looked as if he achieved it. But above that, seeing Pan run up to Gohan and hug him made him ponder something. He had a family and his friends, sure, but what if he had one of his own? Boo disappeared for a good long while. No one but Mr. Satan saw him, and he explained that Boo had locked himself away at the library. And by the way, this happens in Dragon Ball Online and Xenoverse, I'm not making this up. Boo knew about Mr. Satan's book, Bob and Margaret's Forbidden Games, and with some inspiration from it, Boo created an offspring of his own. Boo had heard about the World Martial Arts Tournament coming up, and arrived at Goku's house, while him, Goten, and Pan trained. The Saiyans were surprised to not only see Boo, but for him to be accompanied by a smaller version of himself. Boo introduced him as Oob. He didn't speak much, and he had quite an attitude. Him and Pan were already staring each other down, and Goten was a little scared. Goku took Boo aside and told him that maybe it's not the best idea to have him enter the World Tournament. It's mostly going to be normal people. If his kid is anything like him, he's going to be real troublesome.
Are you trying to sabotage my offspring so Pan can win?
Goku denied this, but Boo continued to press him. In reality, he just wanted to really fight Goku. A yell from Goten made them stop, turning around to see Oob and Pan already fighting. And although Oob was clearly stronger, Pan had much more control over her abilities, and was a more experienced martial artist. This gave Goku an idea, telling Boo that having a son is about much more than just having a little person look like you. It's about passing on what you've learned, so they can be even better. Boo cocked an eyebrow. I want to train him, alongside Pan. Just imagine it. Imagine how strong they can be. Imagine the challenges they could give us. Boo didn't know how to respond at first, but slowly a smile turned on his face. He could still feel a part of Goku within himself, and the prospect of his son becoming even stronger than he is excited him, and said that he'd do it. Boo turned to Goku and said,
If they want to fight so badly, why don't we show them how it's really done?
It's been a long time since we fought seriously, huh? There was fire behind each other's eyes. Boo owed so much to Goku, and he knew the best way to repay him was by having a good battle. They knew where to go, the only place that could last under their immense pressure. They placed their hands on their family and teleported to the Kaioshin realm, onto Never.
SmugStick, you put your foot in that one. You put your foot in that one. Boy, I was about to fall asleep, though, I ain't gonna lie. But we made it. That was a long ass video, but it was fire. It was cool. I did like the Moro art. That was fire. Yeah, Boo just fucking cheat code, pretty much. I see why they make that nigga sleep in the real Dragon Ball. But anyway, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Check out the last chapter right here. Check out another story you might like right here. And I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.